What's up, guys? Welcome back to FishOfHex. My name is Travis. Today we're going to be doing a fish room tour. I finally finished the fish room, got all my builds pretty much done, or at least what I plan on adding to this room, and I just want to show you guys what's going on. So when you come into the back end of the house here in the basement, to the left hand side we have the 30-gallon nuvo tank, which used to have a lot of coral in it, and I've since removed probably, I would say maybe 90% of the coral and replaced it with some anemones. Now I am going to switch it to some gel filter video because this is pretty blue, but right now it's doing pretty good. We have one clownfish because I've since sold the other ones, and I do have 4 that are in quarantine and or will be in quarantine on Friday, and then we'll go through and go through that process and get them into this tank, and we'll kind of see how it works out. Now right now we have 2 green bubble tip anemones as well as 3 rose bubble tips, and I do plan on adding 5 or 6 more anemones of different types because I kind of want to mix it up a little bit and see how it turns out. And then we'll kind of see how all the clowns do, and I'll give you guys an update on this tank here probably in the next month or so. Now when it comes to this system, I had a Gfo Reactor, a carbon reactor, as well as a Chaeto reactor. I've since removed those, sold those at Reefapalooza. And right now this system's only dependent on 50% water changes every 2 weeks, which is not enough. As you guys can probably see, there's a little bit of algae in there. So I have since purchased a skimmer, which will be here today or tomorrow, and it's actually a pretty good skimmer. It's one of the first ones I used when I came into the hobby. It's the eShops Hang on the Back 100, and that's the air kicking on there. And we'll go ahead and put that on there and use that to kind of aid with the filtration, since we will be adding quite a few more fish, just to make sure their system does pretty well. And yeah, it's doing pretty good. Now to the right of that we have my desk. And yeah, this is where I get all my stuff done. And you guys have been asking about this guy. Yes, that's a rubber band ball. It is 100% rubber bands. I don't know what happened. 5 years ago, I kind of had an idea to make a rubber band ball, spent a ton of money on it, and it's been sitting there for 5 years, or wherever I've lived over the last 5 years. But yeah, so this is where I get all my work done. And to the right of that, we have the new planted tank, the 125-gallon. Which is doing pretty good. It's officially been up for about 6 days now, and the fish went through a little mini quarantine there just to make sure they had a little bit of copper. I just planted the tank 4 days ago, added the CO2, and as you guys can see, it's pretty cloudy still, which is going to be like that for a while, just because I didn't let the wood soak as long as I wanted to, and I kind of like the cloudy look of the planted tank, and it will clear up over time with carbon and water changes. Now yes, this rock is not permanent. I just want to put that out there. It's actually holding the wood down because it's just a little buoyant, not enough to float to the surface, but enough kind of to the point where it comes out of the dirt. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a few weeks and let the wood continue to get waterlogged. Now when it comes to stocking of this, I have about 11 different plants in there right now, and I'll go in depth on kind of what they are and kind of how I anticipate them to grow here in another video when we kind of officially do a look at this system. And I have 12 fish in there, some rainbows, some dinos, and I do have 75 to 80 fish that will be here on Friday, which I will put through quarantine and they will go in here. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet. You guys will see that in a later video. Now we, of course, have CO2. All my planted tanks are dirt with CO2. We have a carbon reactor there, which is attached to the sump, which has marine pure in it, bio balls, mechanical filtration, and a DCP 6500. Yep, 6500. And works out pretty good. Now when it comes to lighting, I have a ton of light, probably more than I should. It's 1800 watts of 5K Home Depot bulbs, kind of on a little makeshift hanging canopy. Sorry, the video's a little zooming in and out there. But it's definitely growing, as you can probably see here. For 4 days, these plants are already growing roots, and they're about to go down into the dirt and do their thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out over the next few months. Now to the right of that, we have my workbench. This is where I cut the coral, pack coral, do most of my kind of unboxing videos. I kind of do my old, I like to watch YouTube and stuff like that, listen to, I don't know, it just depends on what mood I'm in, but I usually kind of watch something in the background while I'm working throughout the day. And of course all my supplements, and you guys will see the video on the brine shrimp and pods and all that stuff later on, which I just started using on the 300, so look forward to that. And yeah, so this is where I kind of do all my work for the channel and for shipping coral. Works out pretty good. Now to the right of that we have, of course, the 300-gallon, which I will get you guys some video here without all the blue. And this tank is doing amazing. The growth is insane. The calcium reactor, I've actually started dialing it in more. Seems like every 5 or 6 days I have to make an adjustment on the calcium reactor because of how fast and how much is getting pulled out. Kind of struggling to keep it at 9.5 DKH if I don't make an adjustment at least once a week. And have a little bitty CO2 tank, which I just filled up with the carbon doser. I swapped out the CO2 tanks. I had the bigger one here, but I'm going to be using a lot more CO2 on the planted tank, so I figured I'd just use the bigger one on that system. Of course, the Skimmer swabby, which is rocking. And I have a new collection cup coming, which you guys will see from Avast Marine Works, which will replace that. So yeah, I love the system, and I'm glad that it's finally done, and now we can sit back and start enjoying it. Now to the right of that, we have the mixing station with the RODI setup, which I will show you guys in depth. The new 3-stage. I've had this on here for a month or two. I just haven't made a video yet, but you guys will see an update in how I set that up here soon. Some extra salt, as well as the storage barrel and the mixing barrel. Yep. Oh yeah, and just a heads up, I am using RODI on my planted tank. I know you guys are wondering about that in the comments section. Now to the right of that, we have the Frag System with the new AP700s over it. And I'll tell you right now, the coloration and growth from these lights are insane. They do great on the low boys, and they're about 20, I would say almost 20 inches above the tank, and it's a perfect coverage. I will show you guys a video on setting those up, as well as the PAR readings on that system. Now we have just carbon running on this tank. I have a dose, Apex doser, which will be here again today or tomorrow, which we'll put on here and replace this Gfo, which I've had to calibrate 3 times over the last 4 months. So I'm done dealing with that, and I will have another collection jug as well. So I'm finally done dealing with the Gfo pump. I'm not really sure what happened to their manufacturing process over the last few years, but they just kind of sucked, and I don't know what happened, but I'm not dealing with it anymore. Of course, filter socks. I am running through, what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah, about 12 filter socks a week between the two systems, but that's okay. I have about 5-gallon jugs full of filter socks that I just continually use throughout the weeks, and I pretty much wash them once a month or every other month, depending on kind of how many I'm actually going through and how dirty the systems are during that process. So here we go, zooming out here. Now to the right of that, we have the new growing system for lettuce, and I'm doing Swiss chard in here. I just planted, but these are LEDs, and they're really efficient on energy. So and they are the blue and red spectrum, which is nice. It's kind of hard to tell on the video, but I have 6 of those, and we'll be growing Swiss chard down here, as well as lettuce up here in these 2 containers. So pretty good. Just have extra product down here and some growing stuff for the garden. Now to the right of that, we have I guess you want to call it the Frag Cart. This is where I put orders together and organize them. So it looks pretty good. Now moving back over here, the last thing to show you guys is the quarantine system for the fish. Freshwater is on the top here. We have some clowns here I'm looking after for a buddy. And then we have 4 empty tanks, which we'll be adding some fish to on Friday, and you guys will see that. I'm getting a hippo tang for the 300-gallon, as well as those clowns for the 30-gallon. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'll show you guys here later in the week. Now, if you guys want more of an update and kind of what's going on here in the fish room, definitely follow me on Instagram, because I post probably daily pictures of what's going on for that. For the fish room and the business and builds and all that stuff, so check that out. But either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you later. Peace.